I imagine that each of you here has your own favorite way to settle into trance. So go ahead and take a moment to close your eyes. Get into that good body position that helps you to settle in to a place of curiosity and wonder and imagination. And with your eyelids gently closed, just feel the weight of the eyelids. Imagining that there's a tiny little weight on every eyelash, keeping those eyelids so wonderfully, comfortably closed. And I welcome you to join me for a relaxing and empowering experience of hypnosis. And all that's required for you to experience this is to just create a temporary I don't care sort of attitude about the world out there. To let your dreaming mind float to the forefront and just listen lazily and comfortably to the sound of my voice. And as you settle in, you can take a moment to do that. Do anything that you would need to do to allow any measure of pressure and tension from the day to just melt away. That's right. And every adjustment you make to become more comfortable seems to relax you twice as much as before. Excellent. And I'm curious if you might be curious to know that anything that captures your attention and focus and activates your imagination, you start to feel or do something, even if it just lets you slip a bit more into that dreamy, relaxed state. This is hypnosis. This is trance, an exquisite dance between the mind and body, between imagination and emotions, to create the feelings you desire. And I know that you know relaxation is not a requirement of this process, but it is a choice, a gift, a reward, a simple pleasure you can offer yourself. So I invite you now, all of you exquisite, beautiful hypnotists, to follow me down the instinctive and intuitive pathways within your mind and body to hypnosis. And as I count from 10 down to 0, I invite you to roll the eyes up under the lids one time briefly for each count, where you find you feel especially relaxed at 0. 10. Closing the door to the outside world in that welcome and wonderful way. That door getting smaller and more distant with every exhale, giving you even more peace and space to breathe and relax. Relax and breathe. 9, lingering thoughts, preoccupations, distractions of any kind continue to drift from the mind. Like bubbles or balloons, they float on through. 8. And if at any time a completely unnecessary thought enters the mind, do what I do. Tell that thought, shh, I'm busy with hypnosis. Let it move on through, coming back to the sound of my voice guiding you. 7. And the better you feel, the deeper inward you seem to drift, and float into the growing calm and comfort that you are creating. And the deeper inward you drift, the better you feel. That's right. Deeper and deeper now. 6. The common everyday sounds of life, curiously comforting and reassuring, but equally unimportant and irrelevant. 5. Deeper now. An unwinding from within, from top to toe, with every exhale as you just let go of any measure of accumulated pressure, frustration, tension, or stress. Just say yes to letting go. 4. And I wonder if you might wonder how wonderful it would be to allow me to speak directly to that part of you that is ready to experience trance, relaxation, the possibility of transformation at your own pace, by your own measure, in your own way. 3, you are free to surrender your mind and body as fully and completely as you would want to the safety, stability, security that supports you. 2, nothing more you need to do, nothing you need to try to make happen. You simply allow yourself to have this experience with a curious and open mind, drifting deeper now, and deeper. 1, becoming more at one with this wonderful feeling that you are creating that allows you to continue to let go and float down through 0 into the deep sleep of hypnosis. That's right. So you can let go now and follow me with every exhale, deeper and deeper. Nothing else seems to matter. And I invite you to just listen lazily and peacefully to all that I say, to let the words just swirl in your mind and play. I know that you know nature is filled with so much wonderful variety. There is so much rich and wonderful diversity in nature. And you might consider this for a moment. So many different expressions of beauty and radiance across the spectrum of all the richness that nature has to offer. You might first consider colors. There are primary colors, and yet there are seemingly infinite degree of variations of the shades of the very same color. And isn't it wonderful that a single color could have so many brilliant and beautiful, subtle or bold expressions? You might think about flowers. So many different colors and shapes and sizes and varieties, each with their own fragrance and some with none at all. And I like to think of our bodies as colors, or perhaps flowers, each with their own expression that makes them as unique and brilliant and beautiful and juicy as any other. And you might think for a moment what color you might be. Would you be subtle or bold, or somewhere in between? If you were a flower, perhaps you might bloom in certain conditions, and in others you might find yourself more reserved and subdued. If you were an animal, how might you express yourself in the world in a natural, sensual, professional, or playful way? And you might take a moment now to consider how you have been viewing your body up to this moment. Perhaps there is a specific part of you that you have been told is not quite right. Perhaps not enough. Perhaps too much. But is this really true? If you have been criticizing a part of your body, is this something that you would say to someone that you love? You have been waiting to accept yourself and accept your body until you reach some notion of perfection. But is this really necessary? And so often I hear people say, when I reach that weight, or am I able to bench press that amount, it doesn't really matter what it is. You know what that is for you. Then they will finally view themselves as having arrived at a place where they can accept themselves and deserve to feel confident in their bodies. But what if there was another way? What if there was another way to learn to accept your body as you are today? And if you choose to continue to strive for greater health, flexibility, or strength along the way, that's okay. You may find that it makes it even easier to achieve your goals when deep in your mind you find that you are enough as you are today. And as you move through every stage of evolving to be the you that you are becoming. Now, you may have heard of something called quantum mechanics. And in quantum theory, it is believed that nothing exists until the observer is looking at it. And they've been able to prove that photons of light do not exist, but only in the places where the observer expects to see them. And medical studies must be performed with double and triple blind protocols to ensure that the observers of the research do not affect the outcome. This is called the observer effect. But what does this mean for you and me and the way we want to experience life or pleasure with our bodies? Perhaps you might consider what it means is that how you intend to see yourself is how you do, and how you see yourself is what is limiting your practice, your relationship, your pleasure. And it is very often made up of the stories of society, culture, your family, or previous partners, social media, and even the things you have told yourself about your body. Your appearance, your identity. Now, the good news is your subconscious is listening and it's waiting for you right here, right now. And all you need to do is give it a new story, a new way to see, sense, and feel being in your body. Now, I invite you to consider a new reality, a new story, one that is written by you, for you, within you, by utilizing this moment and the power of hypnosis. You might consider for a moment that your body is the most amazing, brilliant, luminous container for all that is the brilliance of you. And I wonder if you could imagine that you were standing in front of a funhouse mirror. And if you could you would see yourself as 10 feet tall and 2 feet wide. And if you were to extend your arms out at your side, they would look like two big, long 2x4s. And your fingers might look like little matchsticks. Your eyes might look like cubes. Your mouth is square. And if you were to laugh, ha ha ha, it was just kind of up and down. It does seem quite comical. But I know that you are not 10 feet tall and 2 feet wide. And yet you are seeing it with your very own eyes, and it seems so real to you, here and now. But the truth is, this is a temporary reality, created by an illusion, a distortion of the mind, a direct result of the way the light bends off the uneven surface of the glass that causes you to see yourself in this way. It is real, but not real. Now, those dips and humps in the surface of the glass are the stories that others have led you to believe about your body, your appearance, your identity, your pleasure, whatever it could be. And the limited thinking that you have accepted about your body and who you are. And thus they need to be corrected so that you can begin to see the reflection of yourself more clearly, in a more positive, wonderful way, free of all illusions and distortions of the mind that have kept you from experiencing what it is that you want to. Now, when you're ready, take a deep breath in and hold. And when you are absolutely needing to exhale, you can follow that breath down the spine. That's right. And go deeper and deeper now into the deep sleep of hypnosis. And I invite you to take a moment to scan your body from head to toe, from the very center of your being, equally out in all directions. And what would it be like to find any limiting belief or worry or fear or negativity of any kind about your current state of body? And if you could give this a color with a quality, a texture, or a feeling, or shape, what would it be? If you could give it a symbolic representation of these limitations, what might that look like? And if you could reach in and pull it all out of you breath by breath with every exhale, pulling every molecule of it outside of you. So go ahead and do it now. using the power of your imagination. That's right. And what would it be like to notice what you notice it's like without all of that inside of you? How much more space would there be for something so much more delightful, pleasurable, or sensual? And you alone are the spiritual authority of your mind and body. And in every experience, there is a moment of choice. Consider that you are a being of voice, choice, power, and authority over what you choose to hold on to and what you choose to let go of what has power over you and what you have power over. You were born to be free, to live according to your own sense of integrity, your own moral compass and code, your own sense of morality, and how you choose to feel, to create your own reality about your body. So take a moment to consider who you might be and how you might feel without all of that. Now here is the really delicious part. Whatever it is that you may have pulled out of you, even if it's just a feeling, what would be the opposite of that? What would be the opposite of those limiting beliefs or negative thoughts, those stories and perceptions that are simply a distortion of who you were born to be and what you were meant to feel? And as you consider this, let that brilliant imagination of yours begin to shift and change all of that into what you could choose for yourself. Perhaps a new color with a new quality or texture. Perhaps the symbol or the object shift and change to rearrange your relationship with your body or sexual pleasure, or whatever it is that you are playing with today in hypnosis in your own magical way. Take your time, make this satisfying and gratifying. This is your hypnosis. And when you are ready, you can breathe this back into your body, should you want to. And you can allow it to expand within you and fill yourself completely. And intensify this feeling, amplify it into those parts of your body that you want to, that increase a sense of confidence, self-esteem, magnetism, glow. That's right. And I invite you now to imagine that you could turn around in your mind's eye and find that you are standing in front of an entirely new mirror. One that is completely free of any bends or humps or dips of any kind. And your mind will now be able to see yourself in this more accepting way. Your first step into creating a new loving reality with your body. Imagine, sense, feel the calm, confident energy radiating inward and outward to others from this reflection. A feeling of self-empowerment. It comes from knowing that you and you alone have decided that this is how you want to feel. And you choose to feel fan-fucking-tastic. Now, if this reflection of you were to reach their hand out to you, would you take it? Would you step into this feeling and embrace it and integrate it? And allow it to become more and more a part of you each and every day, to support you in whatever way you want it to. You can let your senses activate and acclimate to this new reality so that each and every time you see your reflection in the mirror from this day forward, you become more familiar with this reflection, with the you that you have chosen to be with hypnosis. And I invite you to future pace. Tomorrow, later tonight at the party, tomorrow, the next day, back in your office, with your partner, socializing, whatever it would be, I invite you to see who you've become with even just a small bit of change that has rippled out to make a huge impact in your life. And in this new movie of the mind that you have created for yourself, let it play over and over from beginning to end and looping again And every good movie has a soundtrack, doesn't it? You wrote this new script for yourself. You cast yourself as the lead. You're the director, directing yourself to feel this way. And every good movie has a soundtrack. And sometimes there's a song on the soundtrack that really embodies the whole sense of the movie. Feel free to stand up and dance if you want to. Woo! If you want to open those eyes, have an open-eyed dance trance, let's do it. Do my little turn. That's right. Woo! Here we go. I love this part. Now I'm going to suggest that every time you hear this song, play this song, listen to this song, hum this song, every time you hear the word sexy or Milan, you just like step back into that feeling. Why? Because you can. All right. Present and alert, back to the present moment. What do you guys think?
Yummy.
Yeah?